Hello everyone, I'm Rick Wright with the Livestock Markets Association of Canada with the Regional Western Report for Canada. Today's prices will come out of Alberta, and of course today's report, as always, is brought to you by the Canadian Angus Association. On the fed cattle market in Alberta this week, very few live sales to quote. However, on the rail, they averaged 226, which would just be barely steady compared to last week. On the cow market, we saw the cows average across the province at 69.60, with sales up to 75 cents on some killing cows and feeding cows bringing a premium price, and that was $3 to $6 over last week with an increase in the price. Bulls in Alberta in the past week averaged 99.50 with sales as high as 110. On the feeder cattle trade, the past week in Alberta, they traded 59,000 feeder cattle through the public auction, and that's exactly the same numbers within 25 head of last year's numbers, so delivery's right on schedule. Prices were strong on the lightweight cattle under 600 pounds. We saw a little bit of resistance on some of the middleweight cattle due to the increase of the feed grain prices. And yearlings, most of them on offer were open heifers. So we'll take a look at the prices for the past week in Alberta. Your good 300 to 400 pound stock, your steer calves for the week averaged 180.75 with the high sellers of the week out of the Perlich market in Lethbridge trading at 294. Your 400 to 500 pound steers averaged 245.50 with the high sellers coming out of Stettler at 274. 500 to 600 pounders averaged 215.50 with the good people over at Innisfell, the Danes family, reporting in the high sellers for the week at 247. 600 to 700 pound steers averaged in Alberta for the week 193.50 with the high sellers coming out of the Rosehill market at Olds at 207. 7 to 8 weight steers averaged in Alberta 184.75. Perlich has had the high seller for the week down in Lethbridge at 196. On the 8 to 9 weight steers, they averaged across the board in Alberta for last week at 179.50. Thorsby had the high sellers for the week at 185. Your 9 to 1,000 pound steers averaged 171 and a quarter with the high sellers coming out of Ponoka at 176. On the heifer trade, we saw lesser numbers of heifers being delivered, about one heifer compared to every 3 steers coming into the market. Demand was fairly sharp on the heifers in Alberta. Your good 300 to 400 pound stocker heifer calves averaged the week at 220 with the high sellers out of the Olds market at 232. 4 to 5 weights met strong demand, averaging 206.50 with the high sellers out of the Perlich market at Lethbridge at 225. 500 to 600 pound heifer calves in Alberta for the past week averaged 189. The high sellers way up in Thorsby at 217. Your 600 to 700 pounders for the week averaged 177.50 with the high sellers out of the Perlich market down in Lethbridge at 199. Your 700 to 800 pound heifers for the week in Alberta, average was 167.50. Innisfell reported the high sellers for the week at 195. On the yearling heifers, these are mostly open heifers coming off the preg testing lines. Your 800 to 900 pounders averaged 162.50 with the high sellers at 171. Your 900 to 1,000 pounders averaged 160 across the board with the high sellers for the week at 167. Just taking a quick look at the bred cow and heifer market in Alberta as we close off the market report for this week. These are good replacement heifers from reputation herds and full herd dispersals. In Alberta this week, they traded from 2,000 to 2,500 with sales up to 2,600 with strong demand on the reputation cattle. For the next week, we expect a little lesser numbers offered up for sale at the public auctions. Prices will be a little tougher, I think, just due to the increase in the grain prices. You start seeing $6 barley in Alberta. You start seeing $4 plus corn in the U.S. and the feed wheat is up. It's going to make it a little more difficult to get the top dollar out of these calves moving forward as the finishing rations are going to cost more to complete the finishing program on those type of cattle. Reporting today for the Canadian Angus Association and the Livestock Markets Association of Canada, I'm Rick Wright. Have a good day and stay safe.